I mean, these are fundamental American values that should engender bipartisan support. Now, of course, this situation, unfortunately, lies on the San Andreas fault of international politics and strategic interests. And of course, I've had some elected leaders speak to me and be very blunt. This court is built for Africa and for thugs like Putin, was what one senior leader told me. We don't view it like that. This court is the legacy of Nuremberg. This court is a sad indictment of humanity. This court should be the triumph of law over power and brute force. Grab what you can, take what you want, do what you will, and we're going to simply be, we're not going to be dissuaded.
This is my video update on this Tuesday afternoon, May the 21st. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with the ICC arrest warrant, or seeking an arrest warrant. They're seeking an arrest warrant for Israel's Netanyahu over war crimes, as well as Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and Hamas leaders Sinwar, Haniyeh, and Daif. They are also seeking arrest warrants against Hamas leaders. The ICC launched its investigation into possible Israeli war crimes in Gaza at the request of ICC members South Africa, Bangladesh, Bolivia, Comoros, and Djibouti. So Karim Khan, the Wrath of Khan, the ICC guy, I believe he was the one that led the charge against Russian President Vladimir Putin. I bet you're wishing that you didn't go after Putin now, huh? Mr. Khan, the Wrath of Khan. Anyway, he went to Christian Amanpour's show. Very sophisticated journalist and international correspondent, Christian Amanpour. And he went on Amanpour's show because the guy's trying to explain his situation. That is what he is trying to do, because he knows that he's in deep poo-poo, Mr. Khan. Because the deal is this: the ICC, because of this request from South Africa and other countries, they had to go after, or at least investigate, Israel. And they couldn't ignore what was happening. If they had ignored what was happening, then the 120 or 25 states that are signed up to the ICC, they would have abandoned the ICC, because it would have been illegitimate if this criminal court, this international criminal court, had issued an arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin, who did nothing more than rescue children from a war zone, moved children away from a war zone, but he was charged with, I believe, with stealing children or kidnapping children. But if the ICC had gone after Russian President Vladimir Putin but refused to investigate Netanyahu and Gallant, well, a lot of the countries, many of which are part of the global majority, they would have looked at the ICC and they would have said, okay, you guys are nothing more than a tool of the United States and of the collective West. All you do is go after countries in Africa or countries that are smaller in size or that you can bully at the request of the United States. You're not really an impartial and fair institution. So the ICC, they had to go after Israel. If they didn't, then they would have lost their legitimacy. But the problem is this. Here's the problem that the Wrath of Khan finds himself in. By going after Netanyahu and Israel and going after Defense Minister Gallant, the Wrath of Khan now has to deal with the wrath of the neocons. I like that. The wrath of Khan. Karim Khan has to deal with the wrath of the neocons. And not only the neocons, pretty much the entirety of the US government. Biden is upset. Speaker Johnson is upset. Lindsey Graham is upset. Everyone is upset. They are upset with the ICC. The ICC is illegitimate. It is a disgrace. It is time for the Biden administration and for the United States to place sanctions on the ICC. They even threatened members of the family of the judges and the officials that are on the court. Yeah, so he's in a bit of a pickle, Mr. Karim Khan. And so he goes on to Christiane Amanpour's show, and what does Khan say? He reveals that a senior leader told him the ICC is built for Africa and for thugs like Putin, and not for the West and its allies. Oh my God. Just keep on digging your hole. Keep on digging your hole, Mr. Khan. You should have never gone after the Russian president. Do you realize what a mistake that was? You were okay going after smaller countries. No one really questioned the legitimacy of the court, at least not the big powers. You didn't get the big powers aligned against you when you were going after the smaller countries, when you were bullying and picking on the smaller countries. But Mr. Khan decided to follow the orders of the United States, what many believe were the orders of the United States, and decided to issue an arrest warrant against Russian President Vladimir Putin. Not only the orders of the United States, but also the orders of the European Union, because they had it in for Russian President Vladimir Putin. And so Khan, he did the West's bidding. And now he is going to have the West, specifically the United States, come in after him. Wow. Wow. What a development, huh? And then he goes on to Christiane Amanpour's show, and he basically admits that the ICC is all about going after leaders in Africa. That's not a good look. Going after leaders in Africa and thugs like Putin, but not against the West and its allies. Quite an admission from Karim Khan, because he's afraid. He's afraid and he's panicking and he's saying all kinds of stupid stuff to Christiane Amanpour, international correspondent and very sophisticated journalist. So yeah, the ICC and Mr. Khan, they're in a no-win situation. They cannot win from this. They have to go after Israel. They had to go after Israel. South Africa and so many other countries that are part of the ICC, that are members of the ICC, they requested it. So they had to investigate. If they did not investigate, then the 125 countries are signed up to the ICC. I bet you 100 countries, most of the global majority, members of the global South, they would have ditched the ICC. They would have said this organization is a joke. It's a joke and has no legitimacy. We're out. So he had to investigate. Not only Israel, but Hamas as well. He had to do it, knowing full well that as he investigated Israel, the wrath of the neocons would strike Mr. Khan. And that is exactly what happened. And now the neocons are going to come after him. They are going to go after Karim Khan. So I guess he's looking at Christiane Amanpour to provide some cover, some shelter from the S-storm that's about to hit him. Wow. Should have never gone after Putin. Should have never, ever, ever gone after Putin. That was your mistake right there. So, yeah, everyone is upset with Mr. Khan. In the United States, everyone's upset. Jungle Joseph Borrell, he he put out a tweet saying that the mandate of the ICC as an independent international institution is to prosecute the most serious crimes under international law. All states that have ratified the ICC statutes are bound to execute the court's decision. In other words, Jungle Joseph is saying that the countries that are in the EU, they're going to have to enforce the arrest warrant if it is issued. And by the way, the warrant has not been issued yet. Where we are is that Khan is now going to go to the judges and present the case, and they're going to decide if they are going to indeed issue an arrest warrant for Netanyahu, Gallant, as well as the Hamas leaders. So we're probably 1 to 3 months away, I want to say, from an actual arrest warrant being issued, which would mean that if Netanyahu were to travel to a country that was signed up to the ICC, he would be arrested. Netanyahu is super mad. He is super mad at what is going on. Oh boy. So this screenshot is making the rounds on social media, on Twitter and Telegram. It's from I believe, March 2023. And the title of this article says, Putin arrest warrant. Biden welcomes ICC's war crimes charges. And right next to that screenshot is an article from the Washington Post dated May 20th, 2024, which says Biden lawmakers blast ICC's intent to charge Israeli leaders. Olga Bezova, she posted on Twitter X, "Thank you, USA, for displaying to the whole world what a complete S-show you, your administration, and all your vassals around the world really are." Yeah, that's right. Oh, what an S-show this is. Grab your popcorn and observe. Observe what is happening to the ICC. You should have never gone after Putin. What is that, the third or fourth time I've said it? You should have never gone after Putin. That was your big mistake. But you had to do it, huh? You had to go after the president of Russia. That's what got you into this mess. That is what has gotten you into this mess. So South Africa said, okay, well, if you issue an arrest warrant for Putin, what about these guys? Investigate. Well played, South Africa. Well played. So we had some news with Assange, and the British High Court, they have ruled that Assange can appeal the decision to extradite him to the United States. Good news. I think it's good news, even though Assange is going to have to remain, from what I understand, in Belmarsh. So he's going to still be in prison. For what reasons, no one knows. No one quite understands why they're going to keep him locked up in prison. But he does get an appeal. And that's good news. But I would say this, Alexander, he is going to read through the decision to not extradite Assange to the US from the UK High Court. He's going to read the decision, and we'll put up a video on the Duran. It may just be Alexander. Maybe Alexander will go on Consortium News and talk about the decision, but we'll post the video on the Duran, and you'll get a complete picture and a complete analysis as to what this decision says, and if it is indeed a favorable decision for Assange. On the surface, it looks like this is very, very good news. Bittersweet, because, as I said, they're not going to release Assange as he goes through this appeal. He's going to remain locked up. So let's talk about Analina 360. Haven't talked about Analina for a while, huh? She ended up in Kiev. She made a surprise trip after the German foreign ministry called the Russian foreign ministry and got permission from the Russian foreign ministry to travel by train from Poland to Kiev. She made a surprise trip to Kiev to meet with Elensky. And the official line is that she made this trip in order to provide encouragement for the Elensky regime. She is calling on the international community, which means the collective West. She's calling on the collective West to provide weapons and support Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine. That is what Analina is saying. That's her message. Patriot air defense needs to be delivered to Ukraine ASAP. Now, if you believe that Analina Baerbock, Analina 360, and her entourage traveled all the way to Kiev in order to show support for Elensky and to tell the collective West that they need to get Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine, if you believe that she made that entire trip just to deliver that message and just to show support, well then, I've got a bridge to sell you. Yeah. All of these trips that you see so often going to Ukraine from collective West officials, these trips are a cover so that certain messages, maybe certain documentation, certain strategies can be delivered to the Zelensky regime and perhaps more importantly to the Ukraine military without having to send those messages via communication that can be intercepted or leaked or hacked. So whether Analina is delivering some secret messages or some sort of strategies or policies or whatever she's trying to get to the Elensky regime, whether she's delivering the message or someone in her entourage, maybe a military official is traveling with her, maybe an intel official is traveling with her, some three-letter agencies, whatever it is. This is not about Analina going to Kiev in order to show support for the Elensky regime. This is about getting certain messages or certain information or intel to the Zelensky regime without having the fear of this information being hacked or intercepted. That's what this is all about. That's why all of these officials, foreign ministers from Lithuania or Germany or Finland or Latvia or Greece or whatever, that's why they travel to Kiev. They travel to Kiev as cover, because there's some secret stuff that the United States wants to get to the Elensky regime or the Ukraine military. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Analina's trip to Kiev. And since we're talking about the man in the green shirt, Mr. Elensky, he gave an exclusive interview to Reuters. And in this interview with Reuters, Elensky pretty much admitted that his strategy at the moment is to try to pull in NATO into the conflict in Ukraine so that they can go to war with Russia. That's pretty much what Elensky admitted to in this exclusive interview. Let's read a little bit of this Reuters article. Western allies are taking too long to make key decisions on military support for Ukraine, President Zelensky told Reuters in an exclusive interview in Kiev on Monday. He also said he was pushing partners to get more directly involved in the war with Russia by helping to intercept Russian missiles over Ukraine and allowing Kiev to use Western weapons against enemy military equipment amassing near the border. Clearly, frustrated. That's what Reuters is saying, clearly frustrated. Elensky described the delivery of the aid, in particular of air defense, like the Patriot systems, which Ukraine relies on heavily in its war with Russia, as one big step forward, but before that, 2 steps back. His tough remarks come at a perilous time for his forces, which are outnumbered and outgunned by Moscow's army and losing territory in the northeast and east of the country. But I thought that Russia was losing and Zelensky was winning. That's what you were telling me, Reuters, for the last 2 years. I thought that Russia was using shovels and they were running out of missiles and ammunition, and Putin was about to suffer his 36th heart attack. Anyway, let's see what else Reuters is saying. Elensky suggested ways in which allies could help more directly, including by shooting down Russian missiles over Ukraine territory in certain circumstances. The Ukrainian leader also said Kiev was negotiating with international partners to use their weapons to strike Russian military hardware at the border and further inside Russian territory. So far, there is nothing positive, he said. Basically what Victoria Nuland said the other day when she was speaking to ABC News, right? To strike at Russian territory. And here you have Elensky speaking to Reuters, saying that he is in negotiations with the collective West, with the US, to get their permission to use their weapons to hit inside Russian territory. Very sneaky way that this is worded, huh? To strike Russian military hardware at the border, it says at the border, and further inside Russian territory. Very sneaky way of phrasing this statement from Elensky. So far, there is nothing positive, is what he said. So far, he hasn't officially gotten the okay from the Biden White House, but I'm sure that unofficially he has gotten the okay. Officially, he hasn't gotten the okay. I'm positive that unofficially he has received the okay. Blinken hinted as much when he was in Kiev. He pretty much said that the Biden White House is not encouraging or discouraging Ukraine from using weapons to strike at Russian territory inside of Russia. So during this interview, Elensky actually said that if the collective West doesn't want to shoot down Russian missiles from NATO territory, from Romania or Poland, from their bases, from like a base in Romania or Poland to shoot down Russian missiles, Elensky said what the collective West can do. His idea, and this is in the article, I'm paraphrasing, his idea is that Poland and Romania, what they could do is they could fly F-16s, fighter jets, and those fighter jets could be in the air, and then they could shoot down the Russian missiles, and that way they're not really using their territory to launch missiles against Russian weapons, because the fighter jets would be in the air, but they would be taken off from Poland and Romania. That was Zelensky's idea. That's his workaround. That's what he told Reuters. You see, Reuters, I have idea. We can have plane from Poland, plane go up in air. It go up in air and shoot down a Russian missile. And because plane in air, then Russia cannot say that Poland is a part of the war and attack Russian assets. You see, Reuters, this is a workaround, as they call it. A workaround, right, Podolyak? Yes, Mr. President, it's called a workaround. Yes, it's a workaround, Mr. Reuters. So Elensky, he wants to pull the collective West into the conflict. The United States. He wants to pull the United States into the conflict because that's his only way out of the conflict. His only way out of this mess is if he pulls the US into this mess. Yep. So Medvedev, he had some interesting things to say about the man in the green shirt. Medvedev said that Elensky's term as president is up. And maybe, perhaps, possibly, he could be a legitimate military target. The US and its allies have supported Elensky's efforts to stay in power because they feared the shameful fall of his criminal regime, Medvedev said. And then Medvedev, he said this, which is very interesting. Medvedev dismissed the notion that anything substantial will change in Ukraine after May 21st. However, Ukrainians didn't live in a rule of law state anyway, he said, arguing that law and justice were forgotten 10 years ago in reference to the Maidan coup, with the US-backed coup in Kiev and the start of the Donbass conflict. As for Elensky, Medvedev said, he can either be captured and put on trial or meet the same fate as his spiritual teacher, Bandera, the leader of Ukrainian nationalists who sought to collaborate with Nazi Germany during World War II, was assassinated by Soviet operatives in Munich in 1959. Medvedev, man, Medvedev. If I was Zelensky, I would be taking these words from Medvedev. I would be reading the statement from Medvedev, and I would be taking his words very seriously. Now, maybe that's Medvedev playing the bad cop role, or maybe not. But either way, he's basically saying that Elensky is in a very difficult situation. That is what he is saying. He even referenced the fate of Bandera in Munich in 1959. Man, Medvedev. Oh boy. So Kaja Kallas, the Estonian prime minister, she said that there are Estonian trainers, military trainers in Ukraine. They are inside of Ukraine right now training Ukrainian soldiers. That is what Kaja Kallas said. Military personnel from NATO member states are already training Ukrainian soldiers inside the country. Estonian Prime Minister Kallas said, this will not lead to a direct confrontation with Russia because the personnel are doing it at their own risk, she insisted in an interview with the Financial Times on Monday. Because they're doing it at their own risk, this doesn't put NATO in danger of conflict with Russia. I don't quite understand the logic there, but okay, because it's at your own risk. You know, if hey, you want to train Ukrainian soldiers, Mr. Estonia trainer or Miss Estonia trainer, go ahead, go to Ukraine and train those soldiers, but it's at your own risk. In other words, if you get caught or annihilated, it's not our problem, right? It's like a little Mission Impossible type of thing going on there. If you get caught or something happens to you, we're going to deny we know you. So I guess that's what Kaja Kallas is saying. And Maria Zakharova's response to Kallas is pretty epic. Let me read it to you. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova responded by urging the Estonian leader to inform the public about the less savory aspects of these missions. Quote, some nations are already getting their trainers back, but they keep mum about that. I hope brave Kaja will give the details, she wrote on social media. I hope brave Kaja will give the details. That was how Zakharova responded to Kaja Kallas. But Kallas said that she doesn't care. That was pretty much what she meant when she said that they're going there at their own risk. She's basically saying, if something happens to you as a trainer, we don't care. So what else is going on? On the front lines, Russia has captured the village in the, in the Seversk direction, Belogorovka. They've caught that village. They've captured that village. And there are reports saying that the Russian military has captured or is close to capturing Volchansk in the Kharkov direction. I believe the Russian military has captured or raised a flag in the courthouse building, which is in the center of Volchansk. So The Economist, they put out an article. Check this out. They put out an article saying that Elensky is getting very angry with his military, and he's starting to yell at his military because they're not informing him on what is going on the front lines. Ukraine's desperate struggle to defend Kharkiv. Zelensky feels that he is not being told the whole truth about the situation near Kharkov and is screaming at his generals, The Economist writes, citing a source in the Ukrainian government. According to The Economist, many soldiers in Kharkov are outraged that Russia was able to advance so far and so quickly. Some have criticized delays in Western aid. Others suspect that incompetence or even betrayal played a more significant role. Conspiracy theories are also emerging that politicians in Kiev or Washington are selling out Kharkov in anticipation of an ugly peace agreement. Official Ukrainian narratives presenting a rosy picture do not help calm nerves, The Economist wrote. Sounds like the knives are out. Sounds like Elensky is panicking in a big way, yelling at his military officials, at his generals. The angry little dictator, Elensky, the man who is not the elected president of Ukraine anymore. There was polling done which had Elensky's approval rating. If there were to be elections, it was in the toilet. If there were to be elections according to this poll, a Ukrainian polling company, Zelensky would win. Zelensky would win big time. Anyway, that is what The Economist is reporting. And I think we can now do a clown world and wrap this video up. This will be a quick clown world. I haven't covered the Trump Stormy Daniels trial with one-time Trump lawyer Michael Cohen, but this makes our clown world for today because Cohen in court the other day admitted to stealing money from the Trump organization. Yep, and from what I understand, it wasn't only that he stole money from the Trump organization. He stole from the money that was supposed to go to Stormy Daniels. So this is just crazy stuff. And Cohen admitted to this yesterday during the trial. And the fact that he stole the money, from what I understand, this is a felony. This is a crime that is much greater than what they're accusing Trump of with this whole Stormy Daniels trial. Let's read from Zero Hedge. You stole from the Trump organization, correct? Michael Cohen hands Trump prosecution another terrible day. Prosecutors in Donald Trump's New York hush money trial may have colluded with the Biden administration, but apparently none of the galaxy brains involved thought far enough to consider that their star witness, Michael Cohen, might cause their case to implode. Cohen admitted he stole from the Trump organization. During cross-examination, Cohen admitted that he lied to former Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg in 2017 about how much he needed to be reimbursed for a payment to Redfinch, a tech company that provided services to the Trump Organization. When he asked for $50,000, Cohen only paid the company, Redfinch, this tech company, $20,000, pocketing the difference. You stole from the Trump Organization, correct? Defense attorney Todd Blanche asked. Yes, sir, Cohen replied. He over-invoiced. Happens in the European Union all the freaking time. Fortunes are built in the European Union from over-invoicing. Fortunes are built in Project Ukraine from over-invoicing. This is the most common technique for all of these globalists to become extremely wealthy. They over-invoice. So Cohen told Redfinch, 50,000 invoice. You guys will, what is it? You guys will take 30,000. You guys will take 20,000, and I'll pocket 30,000. If I was Redfinch, I would be like, what are you talking about, man? At least make it 50-50, dude. Because Redfinch, what is it called? Yeah, Redfinch, this tech company has to be in on it as well. When you're going to over-invoice, it's collusion. You're both in on it. You tell the company, look, I'm going to send you an invoice for 50,000, or you send me an invoice for 50,000, and you're going to keep 20,000. And so the company's like, yeah, okay, we'll play along with that. But man, Redfinch, what a strange name, Redfinch. You guys couldn't get 50-50? Come on, man. Oh boy, that's the video, everybody. The Duran.local.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. That's the flag of Armenia. And this is a monument dedicated to Armenian friends of Cyprus. Go to the Duran shop, 15% off. Use the code GetReady15. Link is in the description box down below. Take care.